At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Joining me now is Dr. Shannon Kroner. That's with a K, Kroner. She's the author of a book called Let's Be Critical Thinkers, critically thinking about masks, lockdowns, social distancing, and vaccines. And this book has been endorsed by a lot of heavyweights, by the way. Let me tell you about it. Well, let me have her tell you about it. Because I also want to talk about baby Grok. I thought that was a joke, but then here's the article. Elon Musk announces baby Grok AI, the chatbot designed specifically for children's learning needs. Subtitled, New Child-Focused AI follows recent Grok 4 release that Musk claims will discover useful new technologies by next year. So wait a minute, are we putting children on Grok? Let's find out from Shannon. Shannon, welcome to Brandon.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. The name is hard. It's Brandon. You know, a lot of people call me Brandon, but you're not going to do that because you get it. We're just 2 letters off of having the same name. So I was shocked to find out you're a doctor. You're so young. You must be like an overachiever or something. You're a doctor, a PhD at what, like 19, 20?
I wish.
That's what I said to Logan. I said, she's like 20 years old. She's already a doctor. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a mom of 2, homeschool mom. And I live in California where we have the strictest vaccine mandate laws in the nation. We have no medical exemptions, no religious exemptions, no personal belief exemptions. So I have been fighting vaccine legislation since forever, for so long.
Forever. It feels like forever, doesn't it? Okay, so can I ask, why are you still there? You know, I live in Tennessee. You're welcome to come here. I mean, because you wouldn't bring your California politics with you, so we would welcome you here. Why are you still there?
Family.
It's either the weather or family. That's what I hear from my friends. You can't beat the weather. That's what they tell me. So it's usually weather or family. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to the beach and the snow in the same day.
Wow. All right. So tell me about baby Grok. I thought that was a joke when I first heard it. It's not a joke, is it?
You know, according to Elon, it's something that he wants done. And I will just say that I actually have been a user of Grok for many different things. And I did like it up until recently when he then added a lot of sexual content to it. And then soon after that, he announced he's creating baby Grok for children. So it will be an AI app that children can use to, research things, help them with homework. But it really takes a lot of those critical thinking skills that every child needs just away because it does the work for them.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearing from teachers, and I'm guessing you did in your research, that are saying that the kids are turning in so much work done by AI, and they refuse to do the work. They refuse to do it.
Yeah. AI can write any kind of research paper a student needs. You can actually tell AI to say, write me a 9th grade paper on whatever the topic is, as if it's, speaking in the language of a 9th grader, and it will do that.
Yeah.
So there is no critical thinking skills needed anymore for school. And now if Elon Musk is creating an AI app specific for children, it's just going to be, I see that it's going to be harmful.
So what do you think will be on there, Shannon? AI for children. What do you think it's going to be programmed to say about LGBTQ, vaccines, all of that? Christianity?
It's interesting because I really did like Grok, the app, for a while. And then something happened maybe a month ago where it actually started to spit out like really woke answers to questions and even research. It would make up research data. And I would ask Grok to, can you confirm that? Send me the research papers that you're finding the information on. And it would say, oh, I'm sorry, that research paper doesn't exist. You're correct. So it's really not something that, can be counted on for truth. And now with the new, it's like wokeism. I really worry about the future of education for children who really just kind of turn to AI without thinking about whatever it is that they need to learn about. And what Elon Musk has said is that it's really going to be meant for educational purposes. Whatever he means by that, I feel like it's going to become a crutch for many children that just are lazy and don't want to do the research that needs to be done.
Well, and of course, my concern too, along with yours, I'm sure, is what value system is going to be being spit out by AI. So now AI will be considered the brightest of all the minds combined. They're saying it'll just take all the brains of the world and you can put it into this powerful system. So it's going to become, I'm afraid, like, perceived as being indisputable, right? We asked AI, and this is what AI said. We know it's smarter than all the brains in the world combined. So, well, really? Number one. But number two, what's it going to be saying about the LGBTQ thing? What's it going to be saying about vaccines? Because this is what your book.
I've had arguments with AI before on vaccines and their connection to autism.
What happened when you did that?
I specifically asked, like, do vaccines cause autism? And it will say, no, that was something that was created by Andy Wakefield and it's been debunked, and it goes all down that road. And then I can, feed it information that disproves what it's saying. And it will kind of reword itself and say, okay, well, yes, that paper exists, that research exists. And so, it tends to be wrong, and it tends to lean more towards the mainstream narrative and the woke narrative.
I got into an argument with Grok a couple of weeks ago, put information into it to show that it was wrong, and it refused to back down.
Wow.
It refused to back down, even though I was putting in information, even from government sources, showing that its responses were incorrect. It refused to back down.
That's unbelievable. Wow. And what was that on? If you don't mind.
Yeah, I was popping in there information about what it takes to be a church in America. What does it take to be a church? What is the nonprofit status of a church? How was the nonprofit status of a church derived? And the IRS has rules, and they're very light. They're very light rules because we have something called the separation of church and state in America. So the IRS doesn't like going around saying you're a church, you're not a church, you're a church, you're not a church. And so they just basically say you have to have, these criteria, and you don't even have to meet all of them, but just some of these criteria. And then boom, you're a church. And then your church is automatically nonprofit. You don't have to go to the IRS and say, I'm starting a church and I want your blessing and you to say I'm nonprofit. Anyone can go look up the PDF on this. The IRS has a whole PDF on it. And it's like immediately, once you guys form a church meeting these criteria, you're automatically a church and nonprofit. The IRS doesn't. And Grok, I was just challenging Grok on that because I was writing some stuff and doing some stuff. And I thought, I wonder what Grok would say about this. Popped it in there, and Grok wanted to argue over this. Grok wanted to argue. I'm like, I'm putting into you a PDF from the IRS, Grok. Grok wanted to still argue.
Wow. And then think about that. That will be a tool for our children. And I think it's going to be very damaging.
Well, let's go to this. Critically thinking about masks, lockdowns, social distancing, and vaccines. Now, what age group is this for?
It's really for like an older elementary to middle school, 8 to 15. And what it teaches is it teaches critical thinking skills, something that's not being taught in schools today. Many teachers just want children to know like rote memorization of things these are the facts, memorize them. And my book actually teaches a child how to critically think about whatever it is.
Give me an example, can you?
So, for instance, in the book, I go over all the different policies that we were, inundated with throughout the pandemic. So, critically thinking about masks. Do masks actually work? And what does the science really show? And so, the character in this book, Darlene Data, actually looks at the research and shows that, when people wear a mask, they actually tend to speak louder and enunciate their words. And so they have more spit coming out of their mouth, which then goes through the pores in the mask. And she's able to, show that masks really don't work the way that we were all told that they work. Same with social distancing. And she does the research in the book to show that the 6-foot rule was made up, and germs can fly on past 6 feet. There is no dead stop at 6 feet, especially when people are walking around, and it was just nonsense that we're told. She talks about vaccines, the COVID vaccines, and she talks about the vaccine mandates, and also school lockdowns and what that did to children, and how really there was no benefit in locking down our schools, and instead it negatively impacted children, causing them anxiety, stress, and a whole assortment of different emotions and problems. And so she looks at all of that stuff. She also shows the reader what propaganda is, and tells the reader how to spot propaganda, because kids are not taught propaganda today, and it's everywhere. It's on every billboard.
You mean they're not taught how to identify propaganda?
They're not. They're not taught how to identify propaganda. So my book teaches children how to identify propaganda, what it is, how to do the research, what questions to ask, and also goes over informed consent and the importance of informed consent, and just really kind of everything that we were, had to deal with throughout the pandemic to make sure that it doesn't ever happen again, and that children are definitely more awake to the world around them, and what the media is telling them. It makes them, my goal is to have children question what they're being told.
Perfect. That was where I was going. Question the media and question the government, right?
Exactly.
Question the media, question the government, and question the, quote, experts, right? Question the expert.
That's exactly.
Today on my radio show and TV show at 1 o'clock Central, I had on a doctor who has written a book. She's an anesthesiologist. She's actually written a book on this whole idea, your relative is brain dead. So pull the plug, they're brain dead, we're going to harvest their organs. She said there's really this idea of brain dead came up from just a small group of people at Harvard years and years ago, and it's now used to say, they're brain dead. And she went into examples where people are on the table having their organs harvested, and they started opening their eyes or had reaction like you would expect, or someone on their way down the hall, and they were going to put him down, take his organs. And he starts crying and looking around and crying. And they try to tell him that these were just reflexes. Well, they finally couldn't find a doctor that would do the surgeries, thankfully. The man recovered and went on to live a normal life and married, children, the whole 9 yards. The point is, question authority, question the experts, question the doctors, question the media, question me, right? What is your authority? How do you know what you're saying is true? Where did you get your information from? I mean, these are basically critical questions for thinking that we should be teaching to children and adults alike, right?
Absolutely. And then my book is really meant for, it's geared towards children. It's a children's book. It's really, cute and it illustrated really nicely. But really, every parent should be reading this book alongside their child and discussing, having open conversation.
I think a grandparent could give it to a grandchild too as a gift, right? And read it with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Because a lot of grandparents want their grandkids to be critical thinkers, particularly now more than ever. Now, I hear some pretty big names have endorsed this book, right?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
We've got, the book has Roseanne Barr, Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Brian Hooker, actor Ricky Schroeder, General Flynn, Marla Maples. There's so many. And Dr. Joe Latipo, Surgeon General of Florida, has endorsed it. So there really is. Actually, there were so many endorsements that I had to create several pages within the book for all the endorsements.
That's a good problem to have.
A great problem. I'm very appreciative.
Now, how did you get involved with all these people? What were you involved in the MAGA movement? Were you involved in the Maha movement? How did you get so many to endorse them?
Well, it all kind of started years ago with fighting for vaccine choice in California. And, that's where I actually got to meet Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and get to know him, and Del Bigtree, and both of them endorsed my previous book. I have another children's book called I'm Unvaccinated and That's Okay.
That's good.
I have it right here to show. So that's
excellent. I'm unvaccinated and that's okay.
And actually, when you say that, grandparents giving the book to the children, that I received with my first book, I received so many.
Oh, there's President Trump holding the book.
Yes. It's been endorsed by a lot of really amazing people.
Wow. And, when was he holding your book? When was that?
That was about 2 years ago, I believe. Wow. Yeah.
So can I ask, where in California are you?
Right in the heart of Los Angeles.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Look, there you are with RFK Jr. There you are with President Trump. Look at that. Our attorney, Nicole, do you know Nicole Pearson out there?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we have Nicole on. We got to get Nicole back on, Logan. Why has she not been on in a while? We got to get Nicole back on. So
excellent.
I would just figured if you're in LA and you're a conservative, you had to have run into Nicole.
Absolutely.
But she's been fighting all these things.
Yes, she does excellent work.
Mm-hmm. And I found out about you through Liz, and I found out about her through Liz. So I just figured you guys probably were running in the same circles.
Yes. Well, no, it's a small circle in California.
Yeah, it is.
Of people who've been around for a while, really continuing this fight for our children, because, we live in a really ridiculous state that just keeps putting out these bills and legislation that continues to take our rights away. So,
yeah. Well, I hope people will get the book. Let's show I got it right here. There it is. And where can they get it? I know it's on Amazon. I know you can get it on Amazon. Where'd it go, Logan? Where'd it go? There we go. There it is.
It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
And both of my books are on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
All right. Spell her name correctly. Shannon, and the last name Kroner. Put her name into Amazon. It'll pop up, including her book, I'm Unvaxxed and It's Okay. That's a great title. All right.
And people can reach me on my website, drshannonkroner.com.
drshannonkroner.com. Again, Kroner. Well, keep cranking out the books. We need to teach kids reason, logic, and context, don't we?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Been good having you on, Shannon. Thank you.
So much for having me.
Thank you. Shannon, checking in.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.